Welcome into the first episode of the Fantasy Coffee Break. We're one source for fantasy information to get you ready to dominate your league week in and week out. I'm your host, Cody Capola, joined as always by Conan Gruen and Aaron Hale. How we doing, guys?
Hey man, I'm doing great, man. First episode. I'm happy to record, happy to talk fantasy with my guys. Also happy for the NFL season to finally be here. I mean, I thought it was such a far-fetched idea to actually have NFL in September, and we're right around the corner. So
Yep, just
itching to get started. But overall, doing good. What about you, Conan?
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. It's like I'm just so ready for that season to get going. Got a lot of drafts coming up still and been in the books now. So just ready for that Thursday night game to start it all off.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, what we try to do here at Fantasy Coffee Break is give you guys some quick hit information, hopefully get you in, get you out, and let everything go as we need. Today, we're going to actually be looking at week one streaming options for the quarterback position. So as fantasy has kind of evolved out and we're not drafting quarterbacks nearly as high anymore, streaming quarterbacks have become more and more realistic options. Usually when we start to look at streaming quarterbacks, the two big things that we want to take a look at are positive defensive matchups. Remember, there are 39 quarterback ones last year. And then also usually home matchups end up providing a lot better of a situation for those quarterbacks in order to be able to kind of move up in. Not necessarily a strong determinant, but it's a nice little tiebreaker as we run through. And I'm actually going to be starting us off with probably the most shocking pick that we're going to have all week, Mitchell Trubisky. Now, I'm in the same boat as everybody else. He's probably going to get replaced midseason. I get it. He's not a good quarterback. I understand. They should have drafted Mahomes. I know all the Twitter comments already coming in right now. But if you take a look at what he does against bad defenses, consistently, year in and year out, he carves up bad defenses, and good defenses make him look silly. He's only 2% owned, and going into the Lions in week one has actually been his biggest boon that he could possibly have for the past 3 years. The last 3 games he's played against Detroit, I just want to read off a couple stats for you guys real quick. First, last game last week, week 13, 16-23, 173 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, 173 yards is obviously not something anybody's going to be happy about. But with Jeff Driscoll at quarterback, the Bears didn't have to do much. They had this game locked up basically right after halftime. Still, 19.7 points. Still going to be your quarterback 8 for the week. Now, if we go back a little bit earlier into the season, 29 of 38, 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. That's quarterback 7 with 23.9 points. Now, let's back up into 2018. 23 of 30, 355 yards, another 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. If anybody's keeping count, that's 9 touchdowns to 1 pick over his past 3 games against this team. Also had another touchdown coming down on the ground. And in that week, 36 points, and it hurts me to say this, but quarterback 1. Mitchell Trubisky against the Detroit Lions is not a top 12 option. He's not a top 10 option. He's a top 8 option week in and week out. Now, if you take a look at this team, cornerbacks usually struggle when they come in as a rookie. It happens. I don't care how good you are. Patrick Peterson was, I want to say, 84 out of 85. It's a tough position to pick up, and it's a lot of responsibility. Well, Darius Slay's gone. He left in free agency, and Jeff Okudah came in replacing him. I think Okudah is going to be a fantastic prospect moving in, but not week one and not against Allen Robinson. Rookie cornerbacks are not going to have a fun time that week one, especially without any preseason, to get some of those jitters out and be able to get their sea legs underneath them. David Montgomery is still hurt. I know everybody saw that bogus report a while back saying that he got carted off, but it's still a legitimate injury, and he's still probably going to be able to miss week one. Now, you couple in that weak running game with new weapons in Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet, with Tariq Cohen finally being healthy, so hopefully he's going to be able to improve those yard per reception averages that dipped to career lows last year, and Anthony Miller as a year 3 breakout candidate. To me, Mitch Trubisky seems like a lock, and he's only 2% owned. You go onto your waiver wire, Trubisky is there. You're going to get laughed at. You're gonna have every one of your boys in your league just clown you for the entire week, and then you get to laugh when you still put up top 6 quarterback finish. without having to make any of the investment. So for me, best option for this week is going to be Mitchell Trubisky for most people needing to make a stream. Conan, who you got?
Well, I got a guy that's a little more rostered, but still pretty low in terms of what I figured he'd go. I thought Teddy Bridgewater, who's going to be my guy here, would be, half rostered because of the hype. He filled in last year. For Drew Brees, he was sixth best completion percentage and 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions in like 5.5, 6-ish games that he filled in for Brees. And he's got a great receiving cast, arguably better than just Michael Thomas. And I guess you got Kamara out the backfield, a little injured last year though. And he's got McCaffrey, obviously RB1, basically 101 in every draft that you do. And DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, who they just paid to bring over from the Jets. And then Curtis Samuel's still there. And Ian Thomas supposed to be the guy at tight end. I don't know. There's some different reports coming out that he might not even be the tight end one on the team anymore. So I might have to scratch that name off the receiving cast. Who knows? But he's got a great cast of weapons. And he's really a conservative thrower, but he still can score the fantasy points. And he has the weapons in that offense that love to get just open in space and create more yards after that catch. And even though he's known as generally a conservative thrower, he was still the 11th highest scoring QB during that span when he was filling in for Brees. And so you give him just as good weapons on a new team against the Raiders, who were bottom 10 in opponent passing yards per game, allowing around 270. And I think he's going to put up a very serviceable, top 12, top 15 week. And that's what you're really shooting for. He has the upside with the weapons he has for a top 10 week easily. And he gives you some of that rushing that you need from a quarterback to really become valuable. And so I think that's your guy off the waiver this week against a little bit improved, but not too greatly improved Raiders defense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like DJ Moore in that matchup. I like their whole receiving core, really. I have a lot of shares of DJ Moore, so I'm hoping you're right about that. Going into my pick, Phillip Rivers, man. Phillip Rivers, 16% rostered. Now this one, he does have an away matchup, but it is with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that is one dumpster fire of a team if I've ever heard one. It's chaos down there. The morale seems to be super low, and it smells like tank all over it. You're just shipping out your number one defensive players for a bag of chips, and this is what you do. So there has been great reports of good chemistry with his receiving core. T.Y. Hilton, he was praising them. I actually listened to a podcast, I believe it was with Pat McCaffrey. He had Phillip Rivers on, and he just seemed like he was enjoying himself. Pat said everybody in the Indianapolis Colts organization just fell in love with him. Super competitive. Now, Jacksonville last year did have a bottom 12 defense against quarterbacks in general, and the departures just speak for themselves. I mean, Calais Campbell gone, Ngakoue gone, AJ gone, starting safety Rodney Harrison gone. So I mean, it's just literally bones of the defense of last year. And then also it looks like Rivers may have their number. I mean, last year when they did match up, it was 45-10, 315 yards and 3 touchdowns for Rivers. So I think Rivers may have he may just have Jacksonville's number. So I'm banking on Phillip Rivers being a good waiver wire pickup this year, or streaming quarterback pickup this year for sure.
But I love the Rivers pick. One thing that we don't talk about enough when it comes to streaming teams is that hopefully we don't have to stream every week. If we have legitimate options that we can start week in and week out, Phillip Rivers has never had an offensive line. And I think finally sitting behind Quentin Nelson and then having some legitimate protection to be able to give him some time, I think he might end up being a big surprise this year.
Yeah, Yeah, I hope so. I think I might stream him one league as well. So we'll see.
All right, guys. Well, hey, that's gonna do it for us for the first episode. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it, and we will be back with your next coffee break.